Hi there. So this video is to show you how to get started with the protein synthesis do now activity. Protein synthesis do now activity looks like this. And so there's a little paragraph to read. And we have this table to fill out. And then after that table, we have some other things that we have to do with the protein synthesis do now activity. So I'm going to switch to my Chromebook camera with the mirror on it, and we're going to fill out this table first. So what I want to know, knowing what I know about DNA and RNA now from doing the DNA and RNA nucleotide activity, I want to know what on DNA pairs with A. Well, you know from the base pair rule that T pairs with A on DNA, and T then pairs with A also on DNA. C goes with G, right? And G goes with C. Pretty simple. The base pair rule for DNA is pretty straightforward, and you know that. What about for RNA? Well, a T on DNA, what does that pair with when it's making RNA in the process of transcription and protein synthesis? Well, T from DNA pairs with A on RNA. What does A pair with? Most students think, oh, well, it pairs with T. But RNA doesn't have thymines. Remember from the activity, RNA has uracil, which is U. So A from DNA pairs with U on RNA. G still pairs with C, and C still pairs with G. Okay. For RNA to RNA, A, again, like I said, pairs with U. RNA doesn't have any T's. U pairs with A. C still pairs with G, and G still pairs with C. So once you fill this table out, then you have that to refer to when you're doing the transcribing and translating of the code from DNA to the amino acid sequence in a protein. Okay, that's the next part of this. So using this as your reference, then we can work through and figure out how to transcribe the sequences of DNA into amino acid sequences. I'm going to fold this quick so that you can see that, but I'll keep my base pair rule table handy because I'm going to go through and show you how to transcribe these nucleotide sequences into mRNA, and then using the codon wheel that's on the back of the page. Okay, I'm going to show you how to figure out what amino acids those code for. So it's all decoding. So remember, using our base pair rule, G from DNA pairs with C from RNA, and T pairs with A, and A pairs with U, and so on. Right? So I'm going to go through and transcribe from DNA to RNA using my base pair rule here. Okay, I've got all that I need right up above in that table. Okay, and so I get this sequence on mRNA from this DNA sequence. Okay, so then I'm going to use these 3-letter sequences of mRNA to figure out the amino acid sequence. Now to do that, I need the codon wheel. So I have the codon wheel here. I'll show you how to read that. The first 3 letters that I transcribed on my first DNA sequence to RNA are CAU. So to figure out what amino acid that codon, that 3-letter mRNA sequence codes for on the genetic wheel, I start in the middle with the first letter in the sequence. The first letter in that sequence was C, the second letter was A, and the third letter was U. So I can see that CAU codes for histidine. Histidine. So I'm going to write that next to the amino acid under CAU. Okay. And then the second 3 letters, second codon was UUU. So I start here. Again, first base was U, then U, then U. That codes for phenylalanine. So I'm going to write in phenylalanine in for that. There's not a lot of space, but squeeze it in. The next codon is ACG. That codes for threonine. And the last codon was GCC. GCC codes for alanine. So when you've decoded, as it were, the DNA sequence to the messenger RNA, the messenger RNA codons can be used to give me the amino acid sequence for those codons using the genetic wheel. That's how you do the protein synthesis do now. Do that second one and email me if you have questions. Good luck.